Welcome to another exciting episode of the Trading Bell. This week we are coming to you from the Nairobi Central Business District. And guess who I'll be hosting on the program? I'll be speaking to Mr. Nazir Juma, who is the Group Chairman of Jubilee Insurance. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you.
Good to see you. You look taller than I expected.
Thank you. You're most welcome.
Thank
I'm
you,
very
sir.
happy to have you here.
All right.
You're
Wow,
welcome.
such an amazing office. Very elegant, sir.
Thank you. Please.
Thank you. And before we get to the discussion, let's take a look at who is Mr. Juma.
Nazir Juma studied economics, law and accountancy at the University of Wales before embarking on a career in manufacturing and development. Today, he is a leader in industrial and commercial businesses, principally within Africa and Canada, perhaps best known as the manufacturer of Adidas sports equipment for 49 countries in and around Africa. Nazir is also the initiator, co-host and mentor of the Future Power Dialogues in partnership with Brahma Kumaris, a series of exclusive conversations exploring shifts in power and their impact on responsible leadership. He has numerous awards and honors to his outstanding works. For the past 27 years, Nazir has also been actively involved in a voluntary capacity as chairman of numerous boards of the Aga Khan Development Network in their social welfare activities, including not-for-profit hospitals, and in their development activities in power generation, fiber optics cabling systems, agriculture, banking, leather processing, pharmaceuticals, insurance, telephony, textiles, food, processing and property development.
Thank you so much, sir, for making time for us to join us on the Trading Bell.
Thank you for having me.
Quite an honor to be in your office and to tap from your wisdom. I've been really following the growth journey of Jubilee Insurance and the Aga Khan Development Network of companies. A lot has been happening when it comes to growth stories, when it comes to investment in East Africa. But before we get deeper into that, just walk us through how has Jubilee been coping ever since the pandemic struck Kenya?
Thank you, Avi. Like everybody else, the experience of COVID has been very traumatic. We employ about 800 people in Kenya, and we have 15 companies spread in 5 countries. And so we have a greater responsibility even for the industry because our market share is the largest in not only Kenya but also in Uganda and Tanzania. So I think the first thing that we did as a board that we agreed on what our future policy is going to be. Because everybody knows that things will go from bad to worse, that it's not possible to have all your people working from the office. We have to protect our people. We also have to protect the outsiders. So one of the first things that we did was we started to have meetings with all our CEOs and senior people every week, where we as a board then told our people what the policy of Jubilee is. And our policy was simple, 2 or 3 things that we started with. First of all, that we need to respect our customers and we need to accommodate them. So in other words, if they are not able to pay, they have difficulties in meeting their commitments, that we need to accommodate.
Sure.
Whether that means 3 months to pay, 6 months to pay, whatever is the need of the individual, we need to accommodate. Second thing we also asked them to do is that we need to be tougher on our suppliers and on our expenditure. So the first thing that we started saying is that we need to cut all our expenses by 20% to start with. Then we also started to accommodate our tenants, in our buildings where we had tenants. Depending on the degree of the difficulties, we gave them 75% or 50% or 25% reduction, rebates in their rental income. And finally, of course, the most important responsibility that we had was that we need to make sure that we are covering our clients against this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was quite difficult to start with.
Yeah, there's a lot of confusion.
Yes.
When this whole thing came to Kenya.
Quite right. Because we depend on reinsurance. Every insurance reinsures.
That's
because there is only a certain percentage of the total that we take on ourselves. So the reinsurers, not all of them were in agreement. So we first had agreement in Uganda because there, as you know, President Museveni was quite tough on his population.
Yeah.
So the reinsurers accepted that quite easily, but they were more difficult here and also in Tanzania.
Yeah.
And so we had to eventually convince all our reinsurers because few of them had agreed, but one or two of them were more complicated. So now we arrived at a situation now where we are holding everybody covered until this was sure. We held them covered until the test. When the test was done and if it was positive, then we were not allowed to by our insurance. But now they've finally accepted. So on pre-clearance basis, we are now holding everybody covered here in Tanzania, in Uganda, in Burundi, Mauritius, and so on. So in all our countries.
All right.
So that's a good thing that we are able to do.
Just walk us through, how has COVID changed business operations? We used to see companies that are listed holding AGMs, departmental meetings, doing different sets of conferences across borders. How has this impacted on business?
I think, well, as you rightly point out, all these things have changed. The world has changed.
Yeah.
And the way we do things has changed. So all traveling is stopped. However, we can't stop working. So first of all, we took that decision that 60% of our people are today working from home, 20% are on leave, and 20% are coming to the office. But we are being extremely careful with those who are coming into the office. Every day we are doing a spray, every office, twice a day. Everybody that comes in is measured for temperature. We have sanitization available everywhere. We are making sure that all our employees are constantly wearing masks. We don't allow any outsiders, not our agents, not salespeople, no any brokers, nobody from outside is allowed to come into our offices. So I think that's the first thing we did. Second, all meetings are now on the internet. So even internally,
no physical contact.
Yes.
Which is very un-African.
Yes, it is not only un-African, it's unworldly. So I think that, but there's no choice.
That's true. It's the new normal.
Yeah, because I think that's happening. Third, and most importantly, people were afraid to go into hospitals, even for a checkup. So we found that people were just staying at home. If they had an ailment, they didn't do anything about it. So I think we started digitalization of checking. So we started to get professionals on digital to check our patients. And this has been increasing. More and more and more people are making use of this.
All right. And you touched on figures when you talk to your regional CEOs. And I'm just looking at your numbers. Being a listed company, I saw your total income 2019 was one of your best years. You clocked a total income of 32.8 billion shillings compared to 2018, marking a 17.5% jump. And of course, also your profits. I've seen the profits have also been stabilizing Now we're looking at a profit after tax of 4.01 billion shillings. How do you keep afloat in these turbulent times?
I think that, as I said, that we know that we are going to take a hit in the top line. And so what we are asking our people to do is to make sure that our expenses are trimmed in line with our top line. We have to do this. At all costs, we are avoiding declaring any redundancies of our people. And so far, we have not declared any redundancy. In the foreseeable future, we don't want to do this. The second alternative is that we ask our people to take a hit in their salaries. And even this, we are trying to avoid it. So we are telling all our senior people, keep your expenses down, and then we will not be forced to reduce our staff costs. And I think that this is what we don't want to do. We don't want to let our people go, because where will they go? So I think that we are a very old established company. We have lots of loyalties. We have loyalties to our customers. We also have loyalties to our people. You know that, I don't know if you know, but we are 83 years old.
Oh yes.
So I think we have to behave in a very mature way. We have always done that, and we will continue to do that.
Okay. And what do you see growth coming out post-COVID? We've seen a number of innovations that have seen companies ride through the wave, ride through the uncertainties. For Jubilee, what is that magic or silver bullet that is going to see you penetrate through these murky waters?
I think the word is digitalization. I think the future is that. By that I mean that more and more patients will consult through digitalization. They'll still see their doctor, but it will be through digital. More and more we will sell our products through digital means, because visits to people, visit by people to you will become less and less. And I think that this will become the trend. Buy your product digitally, get your self-service digitally, everything will happen. All your claims will be settled digitally. You will find out what's happening to your claims, where are you, all of those things will become more and more efficient than we have ever been before.
Do you think this will deepen penetration?
Yes, I think it will, because that is the future. And I think that the Kenya economy is not unused to digitalization. I think that our people are quite good at this. And so I think that we need to encourage them more and more and more. And I think that, the smartphone is becoming an everyday thing now. And I think through smartphone, particularly the younger generation, they live by that. That they want to do everything by that and not by personal contact. So I think we need to encourage that. We have a great advantage in that in Kenya we have a young population.
Yeah.
And that means they adopt to digitalization very quickly. And I think that that's the future. For us, we are saying to our people, behave like you are a digital company selling insurance and not an insurance company using digital.
There's a cost to pay.
Yes.
Is the company ready for this?
Yes, I think so. I think that we've been talking about this for more than 2 years. And I think that at last we are in a situation where we are being forced to do it. And I think positively, you have no other choice. You go digital or you die. And I think that this is a good thing. I think that it's happening worldwide now. I think there are some saving in costs as well as more costs, as you rightly say. Equipment will cost more. Travel will practically stop. All our meetings where we used to travel in the region, here, there, everywhere, that will come down. So there are, pluses and minuses. And on the whole, I think that we are committed, as a board and as a company, we are committed to digitalization, and we see this as the success in the future of all companies. And
Okay.
if you are not able to do this, you will fail. It's my personal opinion.
All right. Looking at our penetration as a country, we've been stuck at an average of 2% for, say, the last 5 to 7 years. When we look at our counterparts like South Africa, they are clocking in the region of 15-16% penetration. What needs to change for us to have more access, more affordability in the insurance business? And is it time for a policy rethink to just go back to the drawing board?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think that our penetration at 2-point-something%, and in Uganda and Tanzania is less than 1%. So I think that we can look at this from 2 points of view. One is that we are not doing well. Two is that the potential is tremendous. And I remember that when I became chairman of Jubilee, nobody advertised. You know, they just advertised what they had to by law, which was their performance results once a year.
Yeah.
We as Jubilee started to advertise, and I think more and more companies are now doing it. So the bottom line is education. We need to educate people that to have medical insurance is not a luxury. It's essential. It's essential for you, even if you are young, but it's more essential for your parents and your grandparents. Even those people who are sending money from outside to Kenya for their parents and for their grandparents' medical treatment will now need to insure. And I think that this becomes more and more the norm, because the insurance premiums need to get lower and lower. And I think that this also depends on volume. The more volume you can get, you can lower the price. The second most important thing is that we need to be very strong against fraud.
I was actually coming to that.
Yeah.
How much do we lose as a country?
Yes.
Fraudulent claims, things that have literally held back a very vibrant insurance sector in East Africa from becoming the jewel in the crown.
Yeah, you raised a very, very important question, and this is something which is worrying all of us constantly. For example, in medical, we get 8,000 claims a day. Now, imagine, 40% of those claims have a fraudulent element in it.
Are you serious about this?
Absolutely.
40%?
So, yeah.
That's nearly
now,
half.
Imagine that they all collude. You know, and I'm sorry to say, it's the providers, the hospitals, the medical profession, and the client all come together in order to collude against the insurance company. If you go anywhere for treatment, the first question you'll be asked is, are you insured?
Are you paying cash or do you have insurance?
Because once you say insurance,
Yeah.
then the dollar signs go up.
Yeah.
You know, and they think, okay, now we can charge what we want. So I think that this is something we are trying very hard. It's partly through systems, partly through having our own people there, partly through education.
Yeah.
Because we are trying to educate the population that if you defraud an insurance company, eventually, if we make losses, we are going to increase our premium. Because we have to live. We can't run on losses.
The common man doesn't care about that.
Yeah, but eventually, you know, he will have to pay through higher and higher. But the aim is that if they do understand that, you know, at the end of the road, if we do less fraud, the premiums will come down and we will be able to afford medical insurance. I think that this is a very important point. Second, we need to really encourage the use of generics. because generics are also branded generics. You know that, for example, in America, 83% of all the use of pharmaceuticals is generic in America, because if you use non-generics, you will have to pay the difference as a insured. So 83% are generic. In Kenya, 70% are brands. Now, here people don't have enough to eat. Why do you make them pay 5 to 10 times more for the basic pharmaceutical necessity? Because they have to decide whether they eat or buy their medicine. Which do they do?
Okay. Very elaborate comments there, sir. And we really have to wrap this up. Very interesting conversation we've been having with you. And when you speak of these fraud issues, it's totally epitomizes what you have been very passionate about. This is the Going Blue project, and it continues to attract a lot of attention as corporates rise up to the occasion. And as we wrap up, it would be unfair for me to not end this conversation without asking you about diversification plans. There is talk that Jubilee Insurance is looking to go into the pharmaceutical industry. Just give us a sneak peek of what's happening, what's in the pipeline as we wrap up.
I think that one is that I just want to touch on the Blue Company.
Yes, can you keep it brief?
That, you know, that is a personal project of mine, and I think that I'm very fortunate. We started it just about 1.5 years ago, and we've already got 500 companies who have become members. That means that they will run their companies with zero tolerance for corruption, because this is done by a lot of private individuals like me, and they are coming together to say we have to put our objection to corruption, somebody has to do it. And let's start it with the private sector, and slowly this will grow. Today is 500 companies, tomorrow it will be 1,000. Other countries are now interested in doing this.
Awesome.
As far as diversification into pharmaceutical companies is concerned, no, Jubilee itself is not planning to start a pharmaceutical industry.
Okay.
However, within AKDN, you know, IPS, it's an Industrial Promotion Services, which is my other hat, I'm chairman of. They are already in pharmaceuticals in Uganda, and they have a project which they are going to put up here in Kenya in the next 1.5 years of a WHO approved pharmaceutical plant, for which they've already allowed some $20 million. And I think this is coming. Oh. And this is helpful to all Kenyans, because I think that if you introduce locally manufactured pharmaceuticals and generics, I think that will be very useful to all of us.
All right. We wish you the very best as you continue to achieve these great ambitious plans. And I just want to get your parting shot to the business community that are currently trying to make ends meet. Some businesses have been devastated by COVID. Some people are looking back and saying they might never recover their businesses. What would be your message as a senior entrepreneur, a successful businessman, someone who people look up to, sir?
I think as business people, we know that, you know, this is not the first time we are having a problem or a serious problem. I think business people are used to crossing lines beyond their thinking. But I think this is a serious problem. I think that we need to face it together. I think people are willing to help each other. I think that we all need to get into survival mode. I think that we cannot continue as we always did and expect something different to happen. We need to change. The new norm is at a much, much lower level in whatever you are doing, in terms of your expenses, in terms of who you can employ, in terms of how much hard work you need to do. So all of those things we need to put into operation now, not wait for a worse day. I think that, like I told you, we are very strict with our people and say, cut expenses by 20% beginning. Then we will say another 20%. So as long as our people want to stay into their workplace, they have to keep on doing what we are saying and to live within their total top line.
All right.
And
Live
I think
within your
that's
means.
what I would say.
All right.
I would say.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nazir Juma, Group Chairman, Jubilee Insurance. Such an honor to have you on the Trading Bell, and we look forward to hosting you at another time.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Trading Bell. Very enlightening conversations with the Jubilee Group Chairman. And remember, you can always follow us on our Twitter handles appearing at the bottom end of the screen. See you next time. Stay safe. Take care.